Good day, everyone. Here's the analysis of the data of the community language profile that we conducted. Language programs and policies in multilingual society, a socialic awareness drive, community language profile, college students of Occidental Mindoro State College. This is prepared by Miss Bagarino Abigail Jane Kaduhay, Miss Paulino Iris Kulil Labayan, Miss Mundin Mayan Enriquez, Miss Rochelda Gracel May Batoy, Miss Espinosa Dayan Pablo, and yours truly, Miss Dingle Erica May Agbunat. The respondents of the community language profile are the Occidental Mindoro State College students. The respondents from Occidental Mindoro State College are between the age of 18 and 20 years old. There were 24 females and 6 male respondents. 28 of the respondents are second year students, one is a third year student, and one is a fourth year student. Here are the address of our 30 respondents. For the first language or L1, the Tagalog is all of the respondents' first language. For the second language or L2, 27 respondents said English is their second language, 2 said Bisaya, and 1 said Ilocano. The majority of respondents speak Tagalog as their mother tongue, which is 24 respondents, while 3 speak Bisaya, 2 speak Ilocano, and 1 speaks both Tagalog and Ilocano. 20 respondents say Tagalog is their father's language. 1 says Ilocano, 2 say Tagalog and Ilocano, 3 say Bisaya, 1 says Tagalog and Bisaya, 1 says Bicolano, 1 says Agutaynen, and 1 says Kapampangan. Now let's proceed to the learning to speak and understand the language. For the question number 1 under a learning to speak and under language, 26 respondents choose Tagalog, 2 choose Filipino, 1 choose Bisaya or Kinaraya, and 1 choose Agutaynen. Given that the majority of respondents stated that their parents' language is Tagalog, this implies that the language of their speech community is Tagalog, and thus, this is the first language they learn. For question number 2, the question is, what language do you currently use to communicate with your mother at home? As for the result, 22 respondents answered Tagalog, 1 said Filipino and English, and 2 answered Tagalog and English. 3 respondents answered Tagalog and Bisaya, 1 answered Agutaynen, and 1 answered Filipino. For the third question, do you share a story with your parents, siblings, and relatives at home? If yes, what language do you usually use? If no, why not? Only one person said no because he wasn't used to it, while the rest said yes. 24 a story with their family at in Tagalog language. One said she uses Filipino and English. Said he used languages. For the fourth question, do you share a story with your friends? If yes, what language do you usually use? As for the result, 21 said they use Tagalog when telling a story to their friends because it allows them to express themselves better without hesitation or without fear of making grammatical errors. 6 said they use Tagalog and English. 1 said she uses Filipino and English. 1 said he uses Filipino. One said she uses English, and one said he uses Tagalog and Bisaya. So it concludes that the 30 respondents used different languages on sharing a story with their friends, but Tagalog is the most used. For question 5, when you are asking a question, what language do you use? As for the result, 14 said they asked question using the Tagalog language. 2 said they asked question using Filipino and English. 12 said Tagalog and English. 1 said Filipino. And 1 said Tagalog, English, and Agutaynen. According to the respondents' responses, while many use Tagalog when asking in order to deliver the right questions and to avoid being misunderstood, many also use two languages when asking, and the language they use depends on the context and to the person they are talking to. If they are going to ask questions to their friends or to their family members, they will use the Tagalog language. Whereas if they are going to ask questions to their teachers, they will use the English language to be formal. Next question, in response to the question, were you already fluent in your first language when you were first introduced to English? As for the result, 21 answered that when English was first introduced to them, they were already fluent in their first language. However, 7 respondents stated that they were not fluent in their first language when English was first introduced to them, while 2 stated that they were somehow fluent in their first language when English was first introduced to them. In response to the question number 7, the question number 7 is, what other languages do you speak and understand? These questions elicited a wide range of responses from respondents. 11 said they speak and understand Tagalog. 1 said she can speak Mandarin, Hangul or Hangul, and Japanese. 1 said she can speak and understand Bisaya, Tagalog, and Ilocano. 1 said Tagalog and English. One respondent said he can understand basic Japanese and English. One respondent also said that Tagalog, English, and Ilocano. One said Filipino, Bisaya, and Ilonggo. One said English, Tagalog, and Ilocano. One said Ilocano and Japanese, while 4 said they couldn't speak or understand any other language. As a result of the responses to this item or to this question, it is clear that each individual has their own preference for which language to learn, as well as their own reasons for studying and learning the language. Next question, in response to the question, do you or other people sometimes find it hard to understand what you are saying? 19 said they are and other people find it difficult to understand themselves because they make grammatical errors. 7 said no, and 4 said they are sometimes difficult to understand. Next, in response to the next question, the question is, what age were you first introduced to the English language? As for the result, 10 respondents said English was first introduced to them when they were 7 years old. 6 said it was when they were 5 years old. 5 said it was when they were 6 years old. 2 said it was when they were 4 years old. 2 said it was when they were in 9 years old. And another 2 said it was when they were 12 years old. Furthermore, one responded that it was first introduced when he was 10 years old, and early age. For the question number 10, Are you learning another language in addition to your native language or languages by conversing with different language speakers? If so, please list the languages and explain how you plan to learn them through speaking. 15 respondents said they are learning any other language besides their native tongue and the English languages. 5 said they are learning English. 1 said she is learning Ilocano. 1 is learning the Thai language. 3 are learning Japanese. 1 is studying Japanese, Spanish, and the Thai language and Korean. 1 is studying Bisaya. 1 is studying Japanese and Korean, and 1 is studying French, Thai, Japanese, Italian, and Dutch. Now, let's proceed to the learning to listen and understand language. In response to question number 1 about learning to listen and understand language, 23 people said Tagalog is the first language they hear at home. 4 respondents said Filipino. 1 respondent said Bisaya. 1 respondent said Ilocano. And 1 respondent said Agutaynin. Given that the majority of the respondents live in Mindoro and use Tagalog at home, the survey results show that the majority of the respondents were first exposed to the Tagalog language as the language of their speech community. For question number 2, if you are a blank speaker when you are being asked using the English language, do you find it hard to comprehend? As a result of this question, 18 respondents said it is not difficult for them to comprehend what was asked of them. 19 said it is sometimes difficult for them to comprehend what was asked of them. 3 respondents said it is difficult for them to comprehend the questions what were asked of them. According to the data, the majority of respondents understand the English language, which makes it easier for them to understand questions asked in the English language. For question number 3, the question is, what grade level do you learn to listen to the English language in depth? 3 said they were in grade 1 when they learned to listen comprehensively to the English language. 1 said she was in grade 2 when she learned to listen comprehensively to the English language. 3 said they were in grade 3 when they learned to listen comprehensively to English language. 4 respondents answered when they were in their 4th grade, 3 in their 6th grade, 8 in their grade 7, 3 in their grade 8, 1 in their grade 9, 2 in grade 10, 2 in grade 11, and 1 in the 12th grade when he learned to listen comprehensively on the English language. According to the data, while some students learn to listen to English completely, there are still some students who struggle to comprehend English for a long time. In question number 4, the question is, uh, when your teacher discusses the lesson using the English language, do you understand it better? Why or why not? The result is 19 responded that they understand the lesson better when it is discussed by the teacher in English language. 7 responded that they sometimes understand it better when the English language is used to discuss the lesson, and 4 responded that they do not understand it better when the lessons are taught in English. Although the results of the previous questions show that the majority of respondents find it difficult to understand questions as in English, the results of these questions show that they better understand the discussion when it is taught in English language. In response to the fifth question, the question is, in what language do you prefer to listen to when your friend tells a story? Why? The result is 23 said they prefer listening to their friends tell stories in Tagalog because it is easier for them to understand. 5 said they prefer listening to Tagalog and English when their friends tell them stories. 1 said Bisaya. The majority prefer to listen to Tagalog because it is the language that the majority people in our province understand. And for the final listening question, are you learning another language or languages aside from your learned language or languages through listening? If yes, these languages and how are you able to learn them through listening? 2 are learning Batanggenyo by listening. 4 are learning Korean. 2 are learning English. 1 is learning Korean, Mandarin, Nihongo, Siamese, and Japanese. 1 is studying and learning English and Bisaya by listening. 1 is learning Japanese, French, Thai, Dutch, and Dutch. And 3 are learning Japanese by listening. The results show that each respondent learned a different language by listening to songs, by listening to someone who speaks the language fluently, and watching movies in that language. For the learning to read and understand language, Miss Rochalda will discuss this part.
Once again, good day everyone. So for the continuation of our community language profile, I will be presenting to you the third part, which is the learning to read and understand language. So let's begin to the question number 1, where it asks um, which language or languages can you read? So, in response to that question about learning to read and understand language, it says that 2 respondents stated that they only read one language, which is the English. 19 respondents said that they can read 2 languages, which is the Filipino and English. There are also 6 respondents which or whom said that they can read 3 languages. And among those 3 are the minority languages such as the Bisaya, Ilocano, Agatainen, and Koyonon, and foreign languages like Hangul and Nihongo. Furthermore, 1 respondent said that she can read 4 languages such as Tagalog, English, Hangul, and Ilocano. Lastly are the 2 respondents whom said that they can read 5 languages. So indeed, this results shows that the majority of the respondents can read in more than 2 languages. Also, it is seen in their answers that Filipino and English are the most prominent used when it regards to reading. So for our next question, which is the question number 2, it asks, do you prefer to read English textbooks more than Filipino textbooks or vice versa? Why? So the result shows that there are 15 respondents who prefer reading both languages, English and Filipino. One of the reasons is that reading both languages let them learn. Or on the other hand, there are 15 respondents, or on the other hand, there are 15 respondents who chose to read one language. 11 respondents that stated that they read books in the English languages or in the English language, and 4 respondents in the Filipino language. So these respondents who prefer to read books with one language have the same reason, um, which is that they can easily understand the whole book if their preferred language is or is on it, and they preventing to have misconceptions or the um, fact of being confused. So overall, the findings shows that half of the respondents do not limit themselves to reading as well as they want to learn and explore more languages. So while those respondents who prefer one language have the reason behind it, either because of the difficulty or because of the familiarity with that language. So for the question number three, it asks, how confident are you at reading an English textbook compared with other children you know? So the results shows that there are 13 respondents who are confident in reading an English textbook. 10 respondents said that their confidence is in the average level. 5 said that they don't have the confidence when it comes to reading. 2 respondents are unable to assess themselves if they are confident enough or not. Overall, the final findings shows that the majority of the respondents have the confidence to read an English textbook, and only a little percentage of respondents are shy when it comes to reading English materials. So for the next question, we have the question number 4. It asks, can you retell a story you have read using the same language used in the text? So the respondents are also asked to give specific examples. So 21 respondents said yes in this question. 13 were able to provide an example of a story retold by them. One was able to provide through a Bible verse. 3 students were unable to give because they forgot the flow of the story, and 4 respondents answered yes and gave them or and they also gave the title of the story, yet they were unable to retell it. On the other hand, um 9 respondents stated that they cannot. Indeed, or moreover, the result shows that the majority of the respondents can retell the story of what they have read. Now let's have the fifth question, which asks, what are the problems that you encounter in reading English literature? So with this question, 9 answered that unfamiliar words are their problems in reading. 1 said that the irony of the words. 7 answered high highfalutin words and or highfalutin and words with deep meanings, which are the problems that they have encountered. 4 stated that they have problems with pronouncing words. 2 said lack of motivation and knowledge, and um, uh, 1 stated noise, which is the laziness, sleepy mood, highfalutin words, and are her problems. Also, another respondent said that because of the technical and unfamiliar words. Another answered that the techniques used by the author are somehow his problems when it comes to reading, and another respondent said that she has a problem with the Old English, while on the other hand, only 1 respondent answered none. Moreover, or furthermore, the result or the final result shows that 99% of the students have encountered challenges in reading, and their uh, personal and their reading problems varies. Now for the final reading questions, it asks, how are sorry, are you learning another languages aside from your learned languages through reading? If yes, give these languages and how are you able to learn them through listening? So, with this question, 2 respondents um, said that learning Filipino. Again, 2 respondents said that learning Filipino and English, or they are learning Filipino and English by reading. Two respondents said that they are learning Korean. Five said that they are learning English. A respondent said that uh, he or she is learning Korean and Spanish. Another respondent said that he or she is studying and learning Japanese by reading. Another one is learning Ilocano and English. So there are also respondents that they are, excuse, said that they are learning new languages by reading. However, they do not specify what those languages are. So on the other hand, half of the 30 respondents answered no. So the results shows that half of them learn different languages by reading any literary works, and also half of them do not learn new languages by reading. So that's it for the learning to read and understand language. Uh, we are now down to the next subcategory, which is the learning to write and understand language. So for the question number one, um, it asks, um, what this? Um, okay. So we have here, for the question number one, what language do you use in writing? Either at school, at home, or anywhere. So, with this first question, in response to the first question regarding learning to write and understand language, 28 respondents answered that they use English and Tagalog language in writing when they are at home and in at school. Meanwhile, there are two respondents who answered one specific language to be used in writing when they are at home and in at school. Respondents, or 18 respondents answered that they use English language, while 20 respondents said that they use Tagalog language. These two respondents basically answered what they are, or they answered on what language they prefer to use when they are writing. So either in school, we are all aware that both English and Tagalog language are um, mediums to be used, especially in writing. Now let's have the question number two. Are you confident in using that particular language in writing? Why or why not? So according to the findings, there are 20 respondents who are confident in using both English and Tagalog language since it is basically a requirement, especially in school, and they also brought it at home. On the contrary, there are 5 respondents who are not confident um, when they are using the particular language in writing. Meanwhile, the other 5 respondents who are not certain if they are confident using the particular language are in when it comes to writing. On the whole final findings, it shows that the majority of the respondents are confident in writing their preferred languages, which are English and Tagalog, and that only is a small percentage of the respondents who are uncertain. So, proceeding to the third question, are you using that particular language in writing because of your preference, or because you are just obliged to use that particular language in writing? The results of the respondents shows that there are 8 respondents who use that particular language because of their own preferences. On the other hand, there are 13 who uses that particular language since they are obligated, certainly in school, as a requirement of the specific subject. So the 9 respondents who answered that they both use or they use both languages out of their preference and when they are obligated to, and especially on demanding or it depends on the situation and the setting. So generally speaking, the findings shows that the majority of the respondents are obligated to use specific language when they are writing. Next, for our fourth question, it asks which among the languages you use in writing you are skilled at. Is it with the language of your preference or with the language you are obliged? Based on the feedback of the respondents, there are 22 respondents who use a particular language, which is English and Filipino, in writing, as they are skilled in it, and it is their language preference. The eight respondents, on the other hand, is both obligated and also their language preference. That's why they are skilled in writing with that particular language. So overall, the findings demonstrate that the number of respondents is using the language on what they are most skilled at, and with their or together with their language preference. Now let's have the fifth question. In using your first language in writing, is your writing well organized? How about when you use um so again, in your first language in writing, is your writing well organized? How about when you use your second language? Is your writing well organized? So the results shows that there are 17 respondents who are both well organized in writing with their first and second language. On the contrary, there are six respondents who are well organized in writing using their first language, which is the Tagalog, but not in their second language, which is the English. Then, the five respondents are uncertain in being well organized in writing with both of their first and second languages. Meanwhile, the the two respondents answered that they are not both well organized in writing with their first and second language. So as for the findings, the majority of the respondent indicated that they are well organized in writing with both their first and second language. Now, let's have the question number 6. It asks, do you somehow find it difficult to write in your first language, or is it more difficult to use your second language in writing? So here are the following responses. 12 respondents answered yes to the difficulty of both languages in writing, while there are 4 who do not find any difficulty in writing with their first and second language. So the majority of 13 students said that it is more difficult to write in their second language because of the complexity of the sentence structures, contrary to the 2 respondents who have struggled in writing more on their first language. And meanwhile, on the other hand, another or one only one respondent is not sure what side to pick, because she said that the difficulty of writing depends on what what she is writing for. Thus, the data shows their writing difficulty in their second language, which is considered English rather than their first language. Now let's have the question number 7. When you are taking a test, do you find it hard if the questionnaires are written in your first language or in your second language? Why? So, 4 respondents among the students stated that they struggle to understand the text questionnaires in both languages, and the other 4 of them answered that they are sometimes. The other 6 respondents said that they only understand well in their first language, while the 9 other respondents have struggled in or struggles in understanding using their second language. So both because there are terminologies and vocabularies that they do not understand in either the language of English or Filipino. The remaining seven stated that they do not have any difficulty understanding the questionnaires even if it's written in their first or second language. Now, for the question number 8, what are the areas that you think you have to improve in writing your first language? So the majority of the responses for the improvement of writing in their first language circulates around areas of spelling, grammar, mechanics, and sentence structure. 9 answered that they need to improve in the sentence structure of their first language, while 6 said that they need to develop more on the grammar area, and the other 5 needs improvement in writing the correct spelling of terminologies. The other respondents answered accordingly. Like the one respondent answered mechanics, one for both mechanic and sentence structure, one for grammar as well as in handwriting. Another three needs improvement on grammar and on sentence structure, and another one respondent for both spelling and grammar. On the other hand, there are also two respondents who think they need more improvement in all of the given aspects, and only one respondent answered no, as he or she thinks that um, mm, he or she doesn't need any improvement as of now. Again, accordingly, for the question under the former one, do you receive help or lessons at school that addresses these difficulties? Well, it says that 28 out of the 30 respondents answered yes to that specific question, as they receive further help and lessons from the school they are attending, and the other two answered that uh, they do not receive any help. Now let's proceed on the question number 9. What are the areas that you think you have to improve in writing using your second language? So the majority of the responses for the improvement of writing in their second language circulates around the areas such as handwriting, the spelling, grammar, mechanics, sentence structure, and etc. There are 10 respondents who think they need improvement in grammar. There are 3 who answered that they need improvement on the sentence structure, and another 3 for the improvement of their spelling in their second language. Accordingly, 2 answered for the mechanics, 1 respondent chose handwriting, 2 for both grammar and vocabulary, 3 for both grammar and sentence structure. So that. On the other hand, one respondent answered that he or she needs a lot of improvement on grammar, mechanics, and sentence structure, and another one for both grammar and spelling. While the other 3 remaining respondents answered that all areas in their writing must be improved, and the last remaining um, respondent answered no. Thus, the data displays that the need for improvement in writing and using their second language, especially in areas such as grammar, sentence structure, and spelling. Subsequently, for the question 9A, do you receive help or lessons at school that addresses these difficulties? 27 respondents stated that they indeed received further help and lessons from their respective school to address the difficulties they encountered in writing using their second language. And on the other hand, 3 other respondents answered no to the question. Now let's have the final question in the writing category. Are you learning another languages aside from your learned languages through writing? So the majority answered no, as they are not learning any language from writing passages, contrary to the 11 respondents who are learning another language through writing practice, and one of the languages that are presented in Japanese. Okay, so that ends our discussion. So for the conclusion, our group or this study conducted by our group found or find that most respondents or most of the students are more find it easy to deal using their first languages when it comes to uh, speaking, to listening, to reading and writing. So most of the students, though there are some who still chooses their second languages such as English, any other minority language or ethnic language and foreign language, still their first language, which is the Filipino, um, wherein they find it more comfortable using, and they found it to be more convenient when it comes to learning with through the different macro skills. Once again, this is Gracel May Rochalda along with my group mates, Miss Bagarino Abigail Jane, Miss Dingle Erica May, Miss Espinosa Dayan, Miss Mundine May Ann, and Miss Paulino Iris Colil, and we are very much thankful for listening our to through our presentation. So once again, good day and thank you very much.